Hey everyone, and welcome into Cameras and Coffee. This is the unbiased show on what you can do to actually become a better photographer. I think a lot of shows out there kind of talk about gear a lot, and really photography has changed a lot over the past, year, 2 years, where gear doesn't really matter so much anymore. When you're thinking about photography gear, a lot of times you're thinking about how the camera can make up for something that you are lacking in a little bit. And it's not talking about you specifically, but it's so much more talking about what we as individuals and photographers struggle with so much. You know, if I'm being honest with myself, I struggle a lot with thinking through all the processes in the field, coming back and uploading those photos on my screen and thinking something like, well, why didn't I do a focus stack, or why didn't I do like a multiple exposure thing? I'm not trying to use terms to talk over your head, but I'm being honest with you about some of the things that I struggle with my own photography. And I think we really have a tendency to look to gear to solve those problems for us, when really we have to look in the mirror and look at it ourselves. So we're looking at, why do my photos kind of not feel up to par? Or why do my photos not feel up to snuff, or where I want them to be? And a couple things on how to actually fix that in your photography. Not looking at the gear side of it, but looking at ways that you can just take a little bit more time in the field and think about the photo that you're taking, instead of going out into the field and like rushing through the entire process and not getting the photos that you want to get. So, you know, when we think about photography, I want you to think about a photo that you've taken recently. And I want you to think about some of the ways that maybe it wasn't exactly how you wanted it to be. Think about the light, think about the timing, the weather of when you went out and got that photo. Chances are that photo may actually be a little bit cluttered, or it may actually be in a way not direct enough with how you're organizing your photo in the field. If I can think back to a recent shoot that I did on the Oregon coast, I was taking photos, having a good time, but I was really struggling with one specific rock that was out in the ocean. And I tried the night before taking some wide angle shots of it, and I just wasn't too happy with the shots, because what I kept getting out of that was a lot of clutter. There were a lot of other rocks, there were houses in the background, and I liked the photos that I got. I think that's one of the most important things that you have to remember through this process, is this isn't a either or situation. Like, you're going out and you're taking photos and it's either this photo or it's that photo. When you're out taking photos and you're kind of experimenting with which one that you actually want to come home with or you want to edit with, a lot of times that answer is actually both. Because when you're thinking about it in terms of both instead of either or either and, what you're doing is you're limiting yourself to the amounts of photos that you're getting. Because a lot of times, if you're taking these photos, you're getting completely different looking images. And that way you can come away with, from a location or a vacation, family trip, anything like that, with a lot of different kinds of photos that you're able to capture out in the field. So when you're thinking about these photos, you're like, I'm not sure about this one. Really tack it up to, I can still edit this one and this can still be a good photo, but let's look at how I can think about this subject. What I want to take the photo of in general is, how do I frame this up? How do I take a better photo of it? A lot of times it's as simple as two words: attract, distract. When you are going out and you're taking a photo, what you want to do is simply attract the viewer to the subject. Now, easier said than done, right? You can go out and take a direct photo of any subject, but a lot of times the second word in this equation is distract. So you may be thinking at this point, like, okay, I get attract, but why distract? Why am I now making them look away from the subject? So not looking away from the subject. What you're making them do is actually look away from anything that is not the subject. So you're basically simplifying the photo when you're going out and taking that image. You are directing the viewer's eyes towards the subject, but you're removing everything else out of the photo that isn't attracting the viewer to the subject. So a lot of photographers are like, well, you should add a leading line to the photo, right? A lot of photographers are like, you should add a foreground to the photo. A lot of times, the foreground or the leading line should not be in the photo at all. A lot of times photographers are forcing those things into the photo, and what happens is you get a cluttered photo that makes absolutely no sense. A lot of times when you have a foreground or a leading line that doesn't fit with the photo, or it doesn't point you exactly to where you should be looking in the image, the photo kind of falls apart. It feels a little bit clunky when you arrange a photo that way. So one of the things that you have to do is take the initial photo, be like, okay, this is a good photo, but now what? When you think about that now what, now you're elevating yourself as a photographer, and you're elevating what you're able to do and imagine as a photographer, and you're taking that next step. So when you're saying, well, this photo is okay, in your mind, you're really saying like, man, this is fine. But if you go to that next level and say, what is my subject here? What is attracting me to my subject? How can I keep that in the photo? And then how can I remove the distractions out of the photo? Every single time you do that, and this is a multiple step process. Like, you can take these photos multiple times when you're going out in the field, and you can just whittle down that image so that it is a very direct, simplified photo. It doesn't have to be just an image of one thing. You can add a lot of variations into it. In the Oregon example that I was talking about, what I ultimately did was I sat on the beach, and I noticed that a lot of these pelicans were flying down the beach, like down the coastline, and they were lining up perfectly behind this sea stack. And I waited for a line of them to come by, sat there for like an hour and a half, waited for a line to come by, and ended up with this photo. And it was one of those things where I was like, yes, this is very non-cluttered. It's a cool moment. It's not kind of a boring photo. There's a lot going on here, but at the same time, it's very direct into where I want you to look, and has some of those other features into the photo too. So it's not always like my photo looks meh, or my photo is not up to where I want it to be. A lot of times instead, it's okay, this is a good starting point. Now where do I want to take my photography? Now where do I want to point the camera? Or do I want to change lenses to kind of rethink this composition? So that's how you become that better photographer when you are going out and doing this. Time for the question of the week this week. And this week, the question comes from Instagram. I put it out on my story and asked, hey, what are some of your questions in photography? And the question was, kind of ties into what we're talking about here. How do you make an interesting photo of a boring gray sky day? Great question. So when I'm thinking about a boring gray sky day, a lot of times my eyes light up, because I'm ultimately thinking immediately waterfall photography, right? I'm thinking, what does the weather match for landscape photography? What can I go out and take photos of that matches for the weather that's actually going on here? So when I was first starting out, and I know a lot of other people might feel this way too, is I was so tied to a plan that I would go out and take these photos, and I'd be like, I'm gonna go out and shoot sunrise today, and it would be cloudy day. Like that's not, things aren't lining up here. So I would go out instead and say, okay, the weather tomorrow is supposed to be really cloudy. I'm actually gonna sleep in today and then go out and take waterfall photos for the entire day until it's not cloudy anymore. Because those clouds diffuse the light and put even light on the entire scene. Now, if you are doing something more like an overlook with gray clouds, would it be better to use something like a telephoto lens and completely eliminate the clouds out of the photo and just focus on, I don't know, like mountain ridges or trees or forests or anything like that, where you don't have a sky in there? Or if you have a lot of texture in the sky, maybe the clouds are doing some interesting things, incorporate those into the photo and do something like a long exposure photo with a neutral density filter, so that the clouds are really streaking across the sky in an interesting way. And that kind of frees you up to be like, this is kind of a boring sky here. What can I do to either, again, increase attraction, decrease distraction, or how do I amplify what the textures are in the clouds like that? So there's a lot you can do with your photography on those terms of increase attraction, decrease distraction, also going out and matching up the weather with what you're actually going out and taking a photo of. There's a lot you can do in this idea of photography on how to do that. I think the biggest takeaway for all photographers out there when you're thinking about why don't my photos look like this? The actual fact of the matter is that you're a good photographer. Your photos are actually good. It's just taking that next photo and eliminating any distractions and increasing all of those attractions to the main subject of the photo. It's a lot like building a house, right? Or remodeling a house. When you're remodeling a house, a lot of those home network shows are like, well, this house has great bones to it, right? That's just saying like the foundation is good, the wall structure is good, and the general outline of it is good. There's no termite damage, anything like that. When you take a first photo, those bones to the photo are good. It's just how can you remodel the photo, rethink it a little bit to update it and make it a little bit better. So a lot of times your photos are good, but it's just the bones of that photo. It's the structure of the house, the ultimate design, the layout of the house. You just might have to knock down a wall here or there within the photo to say, okay, I'm gonna take this out. I'm gonna focus on this part of the photo to make it a little bit better, to make it more direct or more obvious where I want you to look in the image. And that's when your photo really takes a huge leap forward. So I hope this helps you guys out. If you want more tips like this, we're doing these shows every single week. We're doing Cameras and Coffee every single week so that you guys can get this information. Real advice, not tech, not relying on gear. This is real advice on how you can actually become a better photographer and just simplify the process. Don't overcomplicate it. Simplify the process and enjoy what photography is. Enjoy going out there taking photos. So subscribe so that you can watch next week's episode. And also, if you're interested in more of these concepts of how to take better photos, how to do these simple things to really unlock a lot of your creativity in photography, definitely check out Landscape Photography University. It is working with me on how to take better photos and how you can do that. That link is down in the show notes in the video description below, so definitely check that out. Without further ado, that was episode 1 of Cameras and Coffee. I really enjoyed it. I'm drinking coffee every day anyways, so why not record and talk photography with other photographers while I'm doing it?